In the last 27 months, this economy has produced 4.3 million private sector jobs. That's about what it produced on a monthly basis during my 2 terms, coming back. Why did the numbers show 3.7 million? Because the Congress refused to pass this bill to send money to states and localities to keep the teachers on the job, to keep the firefighters and the police officers on the job. I was in Wisconsin a couple of days ago. 73% of the school districts have laid teachers off. That's the austerity policy. It isn't good economics. The Obama policy is. That 4.3 million private sector jobs is, listen to this, 60% more private jobs than came into this economy in the 7 years and 8 months of the previous administration before the financial meltdown. And you need to tell people that. And what happened with manufacturing? It's growing again for the first time since the 90s. An article in the paper today said, oh, we're going to have 2 or 3 million manufacturing jobs within 3 more years. In 7 or 8 or 9 areas, jobs flooding back into this country. What happened in clean energy? Governor Romney goes out to a company that had a loan that didn't work out and says, oh, this is a whole bust. Here's what I know. We rank 1st or 2nd in the world in every major scientific survey in the capacity to generate electricity from the sun and the wind. During the worst of the meltdown, clean energy jobs grew twice as fast as the rest of the economy, paid 35% more. This weekend, Germany became the first country in history to generate 22 gigawatts of electricity from the sun. That doesn't mean much to you, so I'll tell you in plain language what it means. That's as much as 20 big nuclear power plants. And they have generated over 300,000 new jobs out of it. They're a 4th our size and only half as capable to generate solar energy. If we did what they did, that's 1 million jobs alone. Now, that's what President Obama has done on the jobs front. And where he could cooperate with people, the automakers, management, and labor, they restructured the auto industry, and what happened? We have 80,000 more people working, making cars today than we did the day he took office, and we saved 1.5 million jobs that would have gone right down the tubes if those 2 companies had failed. America is back in the car business. And then labor, management, the environmental groups, and the government got together and agreed on a schedule to raise the car mileage standards to double them. And guess what? It will create 150,000 new high-tech jobs. In healthcare, just before you roll over and play dead on this issue, let me just give you 2 or 3 facts here. For the last 2 years, for the first time in 50 years, healthcare inflation's been at 4%. Hasn't been that low in 50 years. It's been killing people economically. Americans got $1.3 billion in refunds on their insurance policy because you got to spend 85% of your premium on your health care now. And that's not counting California. They're not reported in yet. 2.6 million young people, 26 years of age or younger, are on their parents' policy now, all because of the health care bill the president signed. I spend a lot of time with people in the healthcare business, with doctors and people who manage medical practices, with people who manage hospitals and people who manage insurance plans. I don't know anybody that wants to repeal Obamacare, not anybody. I don't know anybody who doesn't believe that we shouldn't start paying for performance, not for procedure in healthcare, and improve our quality and bring our costs in line with our competitors. And that's what people in the healthcare business are doing today because that law passed. And finally, never a day goes by I don't see some article about the burden of student loans. But when President Obama's student loan reform is fully implemented, the cost of the loans will go down and no one will ever have to drop out of college again Because of the cost. Because now everybody will be able to pay their loans back as a small fixed percentage of their income for up to 20 years. Do you understand what that means? That one bill can take us back to #1 in the world and college graduates again, because nobody will ever have to drop out again. And his plan to reduce the debt has extraordinary spending restraint, including in Medicare, has modest tax increases, and is phased in as we grow the economy. Now, his opponent, who said that he's got a better idea, was a governor of a state that was 47th in the country in job growth. He promised that if elected, he would grow the economy and reduce the debt, and when he left office, the debt of the state was going up. And his plan is to go back to the Bush program, except on steroids. Cut out everything that helps middle-class people, cut out everything that helps poor people work their way to the middle class, and all the objective analyses, the nonpartisan analyses, say that every Republican plan, including the nominee for the president's plan, would add $1 to $2 trillion to what the debt's going to be over the next 10 years if we don't do anything. And all the objective plans say that if the president's plan were implemented, it would reduce the debt by several $1 trillion over what it's going to be if we don't do anything. But he's got the order right, President Obama does. Growth now, restraint later. The Romney Republican plan is austerity and more unemployment now, and blow the lid off later, just at the time when we worried about high interest rates. What's the difference here? Shared prosperity versus continued austerity and high unemployment. A politics of cooperation versus constant conflict and divide and conquer. Listen, this is a big, clear election. Also, for me, it's important to say, in my opinion, he's done an amazing job making our country more secure, more safe, more peaceful, and building a world with more partners and fewer adversaries. And that is very, very important. So, and he's had to get all this done while people as recently as last week were still saying he wasn't born in America. He's had to get all this done with a House of Representatives that had one of the Tea Party members claim that 78 to 81 members of the Democratic caucus were members of the Communist Party, and neither the presidential nominee nor any of the leaders rebuked him for saying that. This is not the 1950s. At least Joe McCarthy could skate on the fact that there was one or two living communists walking around. Nobody's seen a communist in over a decade. No criticism is too vicious and too fact-free. You have to take the facts out there. Take the facts on the economy, the facts on healthcare, the facts on energy, the facts on education. And the fact is, we've got an economic policy that has a real chance to bring America back. Why do you think long-term interest rates? Remember the Republicans said, oh, that Obama, he's such a big spender. We're going to have a weak dollar and interest rates are going to go through the roof. You know what the 10-year Treasury note interest rate was today? 1/4 of 1%. We ought to all go buy one. They're giving away the money. Now you're laughing, but why are they doing that? Because people believe America has a solid economic strategy for the long run. And who would have ever thought that the Republicans would embrace the austerity and jobless policies of what they used to derisively call old Europe? I never thought I'd live to breathe and see, here they are saying, let's do the Eurozone's economic policy. They got 11% unemployment. We can get up there if we work at it. We're laughing, folks. This is serious. Too much of politics is fact-free. Just think about the world you want your children and your grandchildren to live in.